bring into the conversation Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, joining us from Texas. She is an immigration attorney. Kate, always good to have you here on the program to get your perspective. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, I'm happy to be back with you. Thanks for having me.
From your standpoint, what can you tell us about this case? Why he was picked up, and more significantly, why the White House says we can't bring him back?
Well, his attorney has been pretty forthcoming, so we actually have a lot of information about his case, which is helpful. It appears as if he was granted something called withholding of removal, which is a lot like asylum, but just with slight differences. But in order to win withholding of removal, you have to go before an immigration judge and you have to prove your case and that you would not be safe in your home country and that your government is unable to protect you. I've done hundreds of these cases in court. It's very difficult. These are very hard cases to win. You put forth a lot of evidence. You go under testimony. You go under cross-examination. So the fact that he had been granted withholding of removal is significant. It's like asylum. And so that they picked him up and sent him back to the country from which he sought protection in our own government where a judge had ordered that protection is honestly shocking. And I can't believe that they did it, number one, that they were so sloppy, and number two, that now they're just sort of like, oh, well, too bad, because that is the government that was persecuting him, and now he's in their hands because of our error, and it appears as if we're not even fighting to get him back. Regardless of what his background is, which it sounds like it's, the whole gang accusation is very flimsy, but even if that were the case, even if he had belonged to a gang, we should not have sent him back to that country, and we should be working to bring him back into safety.
Well, listen to how the vice president framed it in this Fox News interview, because even if he wasn't a stellar individual, should he be in this maximum security facility in El Salvador with no prospect of coming back to his wife and his children, living, we should point out, legally in Maryland? Here is Vice President J.D. Vance.
Back in 2019, an immigration judge looked at all the evidence, looked at all the data, and concluded that this allegedly innocent person that we sent to El Salvador was actually a member of an MS-13 gang. He had also committed some traffic violations. He had not shown up for some court dates. This is not exactly Father of the Year here. This is a person that we don't think should be in our country.
But Kate, traffic violations? So for that, they're going to justify keeping somebody in El Salvador with no prospect of coming back? I mean, this doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And I think the point is when someone has withholding of removal, that is specific to their country of origin, the country from which they sought for protection. And for him, it was El Salvador. That is where a judge found that he cannot live safely. So could we theoretically have gotten an agreement to deport him to a third country? Potentially. But that's not what we did. We sent him back to the country where he's unsafe, where we found that he is unsafe in our own court system. And it is so sloppy. And then to act as if it doesn't matter because, we suspect that he might have been a gang member. He's married, he's got a U.S. citizen kid, he had protected status here, and it's the two-step. It's that they sent him, and then even worse, they don't care to bring him back. And it's really, I think for a lot of us, we are watching all of this, these people being deported to El Salvador, these accusations without evidence being shared whatsoever. And I think the question on all of our minds, those of us who are paying attention, is where does this end? Because anyone theoretically could be accused of gang membership and no evidence shown and then deported to some third country. And then what? Then it's done? That's a forever thing because the government of El Salvador doesn't want to give him back? Well, where are they going to stop with all of this?
Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch is joining us from Texas. She is an immigration attorney. And in terms of the timeline, Kate, of all of this, so he is picked up on March the 12th. He is first detained in Baltimore. Then he goes to Louisiana. And I wonder if you can explain why that facility is so key to the Trump administration when it comes to these illegals and the federal court jurisdiction in Louisiana compared to perhaps Baltimore or New York City.
Sure. There seem to be a few reasons they're using Louisiana as a staging ground. Number one, there's more detention bed space in Louisiana because of a sharing agreement for federal detention space. Number two, the federal court system there is backlogged, and so people filing petitions in federal court for release, for example, are not heard as quickly. But then the third and probably the strongest reason is that federal decisions and immigration decisions are appealed to the circuit courts of appeal, and Louisiana sits in the Fifth Circuit, as does Texas, where I live. And the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is notoriously conservative and anti-immigrant, and so it's a type of forum shopping. Sending people to Louisiana means that the government has them in a preferential legal jurisdiction, and they can, do more of what they want, which is detain people indefinitely and deport them to third countries, et cetera, with less oversight from the federal courts.
So what are the legal rights of this individual and perhaps others who may be detained and then being housed illegally, even as the White House admits, yes, we did make a mistake?
It's going to come down to the judiciary. This is just the way it is right now. I think we all know that. We know the way things are going with the president. We know things are the way they're going with Congress. And so we're relying upon the judiciary, the lawyers, and the federal court system to uphold the laws in this country. And so people are going to have to keep filing federal litigation and lawsuits and obtaining orders from federal judges. And let's all hope and pray that the administration will continue following federal court orders so that our democracy and our system of checks and balances can actually stay intact.
Kate, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.